Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Welcome to the bonus show. We've been talking about the interview a lot, and we're going to bring it up again right now, but or a little different angle here. The interview in its opening weekend online, that being streaming and whatnot, it made over $15 million that holiday weekend. That's online in purchases and rentals in the U.S. and Canada, and that's pretty impressive.
Yes.
Now, it earned about $2.8 million over the same time in theaters, but there were not many theaters showing it. So the theaters that did, of course, sold out. And there was one story of a man spending $650 on movie tickets he intended to scalp right before the announcement that Sony would be streaming this online, and he then started asking for a refund. Nephi sent me that story. Not the brightest guy. He's not getting the refund, by the way. But anyway, this worked incredibly well for Sony. Now, I think going forward, are we going to see this type of thing happen with movies, or is this an exception? Do people still want to go to the movie theater and see their movies, or is this going to move to the online realm like everything else has?
I don't know. This is kind of an interesting pilot program of saying, what if we just release a movie online? Now, I understand that the 15 million that it has made so far is great, but let's wait and see. We need to wait and see what it makes internationally. We need to wait and see what it makes total, because it's still kind of early in the game. And it's great for kind of like a first weekend box office comparison, but let's wait and see. And the other thing we have to consider is, even if this does really well with this model, look at the amount of worldwide press that this movie received because of the controversy around it. So you would have to say, okay, it might have worked here, but could the average movie do as well just with this model? And I think that would be a much more difficult argument to make.
I think so. Of course, it still could be combined with the barrage of television advertisements that we see for so many movies. And in that way, maybe, but I think certainly for a movie to have this much success online, at least as it stands right now, it would have to have this much hype around it. It would have to have this much, it would have to be at the forefront like this movie has in so many ways.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how I feel about ultimately the great American pastime of going to the movies will disappear. I'm not sure if that will happen. I think I don't want that to happen. I would like for things to stay the same. I'd like to see better movies, of course. Hollywood puts out a lot of crap, but that's another story. Anyway, yes, the movie did incredibly well online, and I haven't watched it yet. Have you watched it?
No.
Okay, I do want to see it. I was kind of waiting to see it in theaters. So anyway, if you watched it, let us know if you liked it.
Yeah, I mean, as I said yesterday on the show, this is probably not a very good movie, and I don't think we're being insulting by saying that this was kind of just a dumb comedy. And if it weren't for all of this side publicity, I don't even think that many people would care about it, because this is, would you agree, Lewis, that you have no real expectation that this is anything other than just a dumb comedy that might have some funny moments?
Agreed. The last movie I saw with these two that I thought was very, very funny was Pineapple Express. That was a very funny movie, and I hope this is at that same level. But do I expect a cinematic masterpiece? No, but I'm hoping it's pretty funny. Here's a story from Bosnia and Herzegovina. I guess there was a school trip to the capital involving a bunch of students. This is, I guess, a relatively common thing. This might have been an all-girls school. I don't know. But about 28 girls were taken on a school trip to the nation's capital for a 5-day trip to go and visit the sites, see the history, take it all in. I guess this isn't too different from schools in the States going to D.C. It's probably along the same lines. But what happened here was that 7 of these 28 girls aged 13 to 15 were impregnated during the trip. Yeah, incredible. And first of all, I would ask, how is this happening? What are the logistics of this? Because presumably there are supervisors and chaperones and people around at all times. I mean, these are pretty young girls. Obviously, at some point during the trip, they are off wandering around alone, or I don't know. I don't know how this happens exactly, but it did happen. And what it's bringing, the conversation it's stirring up over there is one on sex education, and I think it's pretty clear here that sex education is not really up to par in that country, and this is what happens when a bunch of young girls from a small village end up in the capital, and it's incredible. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand the mechanics of exactly how this happened, but something is clearly amiss here, and there's probably an incredible story behind this somewhere, and I don't know that story will ever be told, but yeah, I don't know what. I mean, what can we even really say?
There's probably this like a group of guys or boys, I don't know what you'd call them, probably men and boys who realize that these trips happen often and probably prey upon the girls when they see these school trips in the capital. But I guess, yeah, that's expected, whatever. But yeah, sex education. I would point to this. I would point to this when the conservatives are talking about it, but
yeah,
they might not be listening because it happened in another country, and they probably think that this isn't happening in their backyards, but it is, as we know. Just another example. Wild stuff. I feel bad for those girls. That's certainly a slap in the face. Let's talk about Facebook. This is something interesting. As I'm sure many of you noticed, Facebook developed an algorithm for, I guess, what you could call a year in review post. And I'm assuming this popped up on everyone's page, and it kind of took the most viewed or liked or commented on posts from your year and combined them and kind of gives you a summary of your year, a year in review. And the idea behind it was that, like, oh, you had a great year. Look, share it with everybody, and it's supposed to be a positive thing. But of course, what ended up happening was that this year in review would highlight even the bad things that happened in your life. If
right.
And someone wrote about this, someone who had lost a daughter to cancer, saying that this was brought up in my year in review in a positive light. And I was thinking to myself, was this an oversight by Facebook? Did someone think, maybe this would bring up painful memories or things that people don't want to see? Did they try to create this algorithm and filter out posts with certain keywords that would prevent things like this from coming up? And I should have consulted my friend who works at Facebook about this. Probably would have some insight into it, but I'll talk to him about that later. Was this just an oversight, like the holiday wrapping paper I talked about, or what exactly was the deal with this?
I assume it's an oversight because whatever algorithm was put in place would mistake popularity or engagement for positive things, and kind of there was, I would guess that there was probably a piece to the algorithm that would try to keep out certain stories that, while popular or resulting in high engagement, were identified as not positive. But clearly that was not a perfect algorithm.
And I guess the guy who wrote this blog post said that that something like this would feel wrong coming from a person, but when it's coming from code, it's just unfortunate. So I guess he's not mad about it. but Facebook responded, and they said that this was a great thing for a lot of people, but clearly in this case, we brought him grief rather than joy. It's valuable feedback. He said, we can do better. I'm very grateful he took the time in his grief to write the blog post. But yeah, kind of an interesting thing. I saw mine pop up, and I didn't interact with it or click on it or do anything with it. Did you?
I didn't even see mine pop up at all. I don't know, unless I've missed it, but I think I would have noticed.
Maybe. I noticed mine come up a few times, and when I kind of ignored it, now it's not coming up anymore. But yeah, I guess we still got a couple days here to go. But anyway, kind of interesting. I wonder what my friend has to say on that. But yeah, let's improve that algorithm next time, or scrap it altogether. I don't know. Although I know that there was no nothing malicious there. David, anything to add to today's bonus show?
Nothing else. So this we've got the show on the 31st. We've got no new show on January 1st. And then we'll have the Friday show, new show on January 2nd. Then we'll be off and running. And yeah, just a couple of people. I've mentioned anybody who wants to be involved with the show in terms of a personal contribution or business advertising for 2015. We really need 2015 to be a big year. And a couple of people have already been in touch with me, and that's fantastic. If you want to offer... if you want to get memberships in bulk to give away, if you'd like to do a one-time contribution as a tax-deductible contribution, which we have the ability to set up for people, if you would like to advertise your business on the show, any of these things, please do get in touch. Several, like as I said, several members already have. And we, with your help, we will hopefully make 2015 the biggest year yet, Louis.
That would be ideal. Yeah. Onwards and upwards. Let's get the ball rolling here.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.